What are you in a high chair?
Am I right?
High chair.
More like
Hey chair.
bye chair.
Hey chair.
Hey chair. Okay.
Can't really hear you loudly. Maybe I'm just getting old. Did I ever think of that?
Should I
Jeez.
do the whole show like this? Or?
Sounds good. You're right up there.
Great, super. Yeah, I don't know. Like, right, I'd like it to be like right here. That'd be nice. If I
That'd
could
be perfect.
have like some sort of person holding it for me,
Yeah.
or I could have the mic up here. Well,
That
you
looks
get the
cool.
point.
That looks like you're streaming or something like that.
Right, like you see videos of everyone else's. Their mics are in frame.
You gotta get one of these arms, like a microphone stand. That like, see?
What's that
I should do this,
attached
right? Doesn't it
to?
look way cooler? I'll just hold it like this. Hey guys.
Right. So wait, if you let go, does it just fall?
Oh yeah, I'm picking it up. I'm holding it up. Yeah.
Oh, so wait. Well,
It's
what
right
the
in
hell
front.
is
It's
its
like-
purpose then?
It's right here. What you're looking for is right here, Jeff.
All right, that's.
Down there.
I'm not looking for it. I don't want that. I don't like that. At all.
But no, it's only a few inches from my face. Just the way I like it.
Awful. Simply terrible. Yeah. So.
Dude, I almost rocked a little comfy Columbia hoodie deal too. It feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like that time of year?
It do. It was. I just got back from a walk and it's like not even 40 degrees out, but it's gonna be 80. It's gonna be 80 again on Wednesday, so nothing makes sense anymore. So. Fuck it. The world's ending. The World Series has ended. The Yankees suck. Everything's in turmoil. And I can't even look to football because the Raiders and Giants both suck too. Everything's stupid. The Sabres keep losing. I hate sports. Let's go.
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen. Age of convenience. My daddy worked hard for this.
Oh,
Age of
just doing this.
daddy worked
just doing this thing where I dance with my shoulders, and every time my left one just cracks when I go back with it. You know what's fun is our theme song is like, it's like you just take it for granted now. Like I just know it. It's just like white noise to the beginning of the show now. But after you were doing your quick rant about the Yankees and sports and all sucking, and it starts with "I've confused my priorities." It's like, oh yeah, that's why this is why this is the song. It makes sense. It's
Yep.
like okay,
Yep.
It's
Life's
perfect.
ending, Jeff. Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
It can't get much worse. All right.
all working
That's
out.
pretty good.
Well, fortunately, when this episode drops, the election is definitely over. It's a day later, and it's all over for sure. It's not going to get carried over.
Nope.
It's not going to take
Nope.
weeks and weeks and months.
It'll
to
be
decide.
done just like in the old days, just like reminiscing about the
One
80s
night.
when you lost an election, you just lost the election and then
Yeah.
things happen. Nope.
Yeah. By
Not
10
anymore.
p.m., someone will have a concession speech, and we will move about our day. As you're listening to
Yep.
this, we all know who the president is,
Yep.
and that
There's
is
no
that.
debate. Definitely no one's going to throw a hissy fit over it, public or candidate wise.
Yep.
It's going to be
There will
fine.
be no insurrections. It will be a peaceful transfer of power, and they will
Excellent.
demonstrate the way to all humans, all Americans, how adults behave and professionally act.
Right.
As an example to us for leadership.
Right. It's
empathy.
going to really they're going to bring us together and it's going to work.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to say that they're here for everybody, not just certain people, and they're going to make it work for everyone, and we're all going to get back to where we want to be. And harmonious, and it's gonna be great.
I just can't wait for these fucking commercials and all the mailers to be done. Like, I don't even check my mail anymore. Like, I don't know how many bills I'm behind, but I just can't open my mailbox. It's like every day. It's the same goddamn flyers.
My phone, I seem so popular because my phone has been blowing up with unknown numbers for the last 6 months absurdly. Like 4 times a day, I get random spam calls, and it'll be 315s and 856, which is where I live. It'll be Jersey numbers and New York numbers. So I'm pretty sure both of them still are claiming me as being a registered voter. But I'm just getting incessant. I haven't answered a single one because I'm not, because remember, folks, in 2024, if you're getting a call from a number you don't know, there's literally never going to be a situation where it was an emergency and they didn't leave you a voicemail. That doesn't or didn't text you immediately after. Like, that's not how we all act, right? So you don't have to answer the call. Remember, you don't.
I can't believe they're even ballsy enough to leave voicemails when it's not an emergency. They even do that. It's like,
that's
is
true.
Spectrum with your whatever, and I don't Spectrum, y'all. I don't. I'm sorry. I know.
Well, the Spectrum 50% off Xfinity. That's what I get, 50% off your Xfinity bill. But let's be honest. Voicemails on a personal level are also stupid now. Like, we're officially at the age where if it's voicemail, it should be someone who I don't know on a personal level, either a business or something like that. And you should be leaving me the information you were looking to tell me, or tell me specifically what you were looking to discuss. And I know they're trained to not give away private information. I don't want you giving away my personal contact info and stuff like that. But if you're like, hey Jeff, we got to talk to you about, your meds or something like I don't know, just give me the gist of the message. That's the best way to get me to call back. I'm not worried about my security as far as that goes. My privacy, I want my stuff to be secure, but I don't give a shit that it's private. So if you're like, Jeff, your crazy meds are on back order and we need to talk to you about it, I don't care if that gets to the wrong person. That's cool. But just leave me the voicemail. But personal messages, I'm putting my foot down. No more personal voicemails. And I swear to fucking God, if someone listens to this podcast and does it on purpose, you're going to regret it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but open retaliation. If you leave me a voicemail on purpose, no, I'm still not going to, because that doesn't make it right. If I'm going to prevent them from it, but.
Yeah, especially the voice message of, hey, just call me back. It's I saw your call. I saw your missed call. And a text. You could just say whatever you're going to say in a text. That'd be fine. But if you want to talk, which could be fun, that'd be a fun voice or a text to get. Like, hey, you want to talk on the phone one time? I'd be like, wow. Yeah, let's set that up. What a treat. Let's set up a phone meeting.
I feel like you have to
on
now.
the phone.
No, I feel like you have to. I feel like calling someone randomly is now off-putting. So you have to text them and be like, yo, you want to have a chat and catch up? I'm not even kidding. I think you do have to give the courtesy text first to be like,
hey, is it all right if I call you on the telephone? Like we grew up doing, we know how to do that. Dude, what a big bite. You're just great time to eat. Great time to eat.
Well, you were talking and then you mentioned the bite. This is on you.
Well, now that I commute too, I think about it a lot, and I've only done it a couple times. It's like I have a 40-minute drive. That's a great time to just call people out of the blue and have a conversation with them, and I don't do it enough. And I should just, hey, what's up? Hey, I just was going to talk to you for 30 minutes. Sorry, I didn't prep you for that. Well, let's just see how long this goes. I got 40 minutes. You hang in there as long as you can. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, they're like, Matt, are you okay? Because that's assume. I mean,
yeah, it is.
That's the assumption. Yeah.
At all.
You in jail? What's happened?
It is funny. It's like getting the a parent phone call at 10 p.m. or something like that, or at 2 o'clock when I'm definitely at work. Like getting a call from my dad, and I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? Like, he doesn't call me ever really, unless it's about a plan, specific plan or something like that. I pick up. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, let's see what you're doing. I'm like, at work. Yeah, it's like,
You're
I'm like,
retired.
good. It's not an
me.
emergency
You're
then.
retired.
Good. All right. Because he's retired now, so I guess he just, occurred to him. It's like, cool.
I have given, other than my mom, but my mom even texts me a heads up. Hey, call you tomorrow for a chat or something. Like she gives me usually a 24-hour window, but at least a couple hours. But like I tell him all the time, I'm like, my dad will call me. Oh no, I did that. He will call me to talk to me about something that's so not time sensitive that I get upset because I'm like, this is just random conversation. I go, when I see you, you're always so hard pressed to have conversation. Save this one. Put this one in your back pocket. This is something you can converse about when we're face to face instead of the random stuff that you blurt out incessantly when we're face to face because you have nothing to talk about. I go, save this one. Like, have this thought, but put it in the back pocket when I see you next so that you can have a topical, normal conversation. But, he also perfected still the butt dial. Did you know the butt dial is alive and well?
Well, yeah, so I got one from my mom one night, like at 10:30 or something like that, a call, and I was like, oh, shit. It's like, grandma's dead or something. I don't know. I was like, what's going on?
No, that's 100% everyone's thought is like, someone has passed away.
Yeah, and so I pick it up, and it's just, I can hear her either snoring or whatever. I think she was in her chair falling asleep, and it was just nothing, just the air, the ambient noise. I was like, oh, thank God. It's like, good. Just
is that
sleep.
Thank goodness that like,
I don't know.
There's just random ambient noise. Like I can hear pocket shuffle.
I guess
when I call. I'm like,
I could hear
God damn
breathing.
it!
It's like, yeah. It definitely wasn't the sound of sirens in a car crash or anything like that, or or suffocating. Anything you wouldn't want to hear.
The sounds.
There
of
is.
suffocating.
You know what?
Wow.
I do have something to tie into phone culture, and cell phones. And brief nudity from this week. But
you've already sold me. What's up?
But I'm going to hold off to the end of the program. I want to make sure the people that are listening. Also, I got to get deeper into the show for this one. I don't know. I'm trying to decide what I should and shouldn't say on it. I will probably say more than I should, but hang in there, fam. We're already deep enough in where people who don't want to be a part of this have already left, but just in case. We'll really make you hold out. And also, I still got to decide if I want to tell this story or not. And I probably will. So let's jump into a bit that we do instead. And we'll leave that one for later. Do you want to do our 1993 early?
Oh, sure.
So you guys, we're just starting to do this thing every year of our episode. So 93, we're revisiting the things from 1993 that kept us alive, that kept us engaged, filled our summers with joy. Movies, music, games, pop culture. This is an interesting year. This is where like real memories are forming. I think in 1993, being 10 years old, like I can remember going into my parents' room and being like, I'm two whole hands. Like, I just remember that conceptual idea, like saying that. And like, that's one of my earliest, like, I guess I can remember things from before that, but that's like a date and time I remember doing something.
Okay.
And like some of these movies looking up, I'm like, I remember going to the theater for these now.
Yes. Yes, I
we're
agree.
in it.
I have that as
place.
well.
So 93, 10 years old, growing up. I don't know what grade that puts us in, but probably in the 5th grade region. I'm guessing 4th, 5th, somewhere.
We are turning 10 in 4th grade. So we're 9 for most of 4th grade.
Mrs. Patagras, I see you out there listening. You're going to want to hang in to the end of the show.
Mr. Klink, I believe rest in peace, as with a lot of teachers, I feel like.
I know. She's probably
from
not
our
with
era.
us, I'm guessing. But, it's weird to think about that, actually, the concept of a lot of your teachers being dead now. That could be a thing. I don't know who, but probably a good amount of teachers that were teaching when we were in school, elementary school especially. Because back then, teachers were old. Maybe because everybody was old to us. Maybe they were 30-something, but I just assumed everybody was 60 years old then. All of our teachers. Right?
Yeah.
Which leads us into...
death.
One of the hits of 1993, Mrs. Doubtfire. That's who I think of every teacher. Mrs. Doubtfire. It was run by Fruiting.
Oh, my goodness.
That movie was a banger.
It was really, really
Nobody had a
great.
problem. I feel like it comes out today, people have a problem with it. What are we teaching our children? A man dressing up as a woman? Canceled.
I guess it would get spoken of. Yes, I agree. We say, because we love saying that. We love saying, you'd never be able to do this today. According to today, everything from 1999 and earlier would have been banned. Yeah. But I think in reality, someone would say something, but I think it would still perform well. It'd be hey, you can't do that. Or are you going to protest the movie? No, I've seen it 3 times. Yeah, it's the fake cancellation. We're more worried about being able to say something as opposed to actually wanting to do something. So people would talk about it and be like, oh, you really shouldn't do that. Everyone would still fucking go. It's a great movie.
It is well-covered territory on this podcast. My disbelief in cancel culture. There's people being shitty and being called out for it, but nobody really gets canceled for shit, then doesn't get to come back. As long as they're talented.
If they don't come back, it's either they didn't try or B, they were never good to begin with, and we kind of did ourselves a favor. Let's be honest, folks. The easiest one, Michael Richards. Kramer, A, was the worst character on that show, and B, Michael Richards in general is not funny. And it just all of a sudden it was Seinfeld ended. He did a shitty thing. He never bounced back. Not because he got canceled. It's because we realized there was no fucking need for Michael Richards. Man, did not think Michael Richards would get called out on this podcast, but here we are. Michael Richards, if you're listening, feel free to defend yourself. Give us a call. Contact us via the comment section, and we'll have you on if you want to defend yourself.
Boom, ba-doo-doo-doo, boop, boo-doo.
Giddy up. Am I right? Giddy up. Am I right? What? He shakes. He's got issues. That's fun.
Yeah, big year for movies, kids movies especially. Get into that era of the PG/PG-13s, the fun sports movies.
I'm laughing because I go to my list, and as soon as you go big year for movies, kids movies, the next title I read on my list was Schindler's List. I'm big time for kids movies. Huge. Huge.
Did you see that? When did you first see that movie?
Ooh, I saw it pretty early, I feel like. I don't know how I saw it. I want to say I saw it at my cousin's house, but I'm not even certain of that. But I think that was I don't remember a lot about the movie, I'll be honest with you. I should probably watch it again. But I feel like there was an essence to that movie, especially being at our age, being 9, 10 years old, where you're this is a heavy movie. I get that, but I still didn't really understand everything of what it was about and stuff. And I feel like our parents were torn because it was you shouldn't watch this movie. No. You should. It's a lesson you should our age group. I feel like it was it is educational. It's not satire or anything. So it's an important movie and addresses an important subject. But I think people were torn as to how to interpret it. With children.
Yeah, I probably saw it late, but isn't it? It's Liam Neeson, right? Oscar Schindler, and this list of people he's saving, essentially, working from the inside to try to save Jewish folk from the Nazi folk.
Right.
It's a real. It was a one-time watch for me. I actually probably should revisit it. The score is wonderful. It's real wonderful.
Isn't it JW? Isn't it Johnny?
Yeah.
Of course.
But yeah, that is a different vibe from Rookie of the Year and Sandlot. That's for sure. Those are the. That's the. It was the banner years for baseball movies. Like they were hot, so hot in the early '90s, and that Sandlot still to me all-timer. Love it. Like a perfect family movie too, because it had like I mean, a lot of them get that now, but the adult jokes or sensibilities but the kids were kind of, especially for our age, those kids were a little bit raw too. They weren't like bad kids, but they were a little, they had a little sauciness, a little edge to them. Unconsensual kisses on lifeguards. That was big for me back then. It was really Wendy Peppercorn. Just all you do is fake like you're dying, and then you use that opportunity to make out with a 16-year-old lady.
Right.
I mean, but you're younger than her. That's what I'm saying. L7 Weenie, Footlong, Dodger Dog. Sorry, too soon.
Dude,
Benny
you're
the
killing
Jet.
me, Smalls. Are you kidding me?
You're
That has
killing
gotten
me.
a full rebirth in pop culture and like America's verbiage. Everyone knows what you mean when you say like, you're killing me, Smalls.
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
Right. Like that is now embedded in pop culture. That, and the s'mores scene. How can I have some more of something if I've never tried it?
More if I haven't had any.
Yeah.
I know, it's
Like,
so great. Yeah. I love a good, once in a while, just a good Baby Ruth. Baby Ruth. Hey, that's the same guy? Yeah, who is she?
right.
All
Yes.
those.
That's the best line is who is she? The great bambino, the salt and the swat, the colossus.
Pickle the Beast. Oh, it's great. Why don't you knock on the front door? I'd have gotten it for you.
The big
Rip
James
James
Earl
Earl
Jones
Jones.
laugh, the deep laugh,
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Pow! Lights went out. Good movie. Holds up. Still good. All the but it captures all the summerness. The carnivals of the fair, like the neighborhood barbecues. And I love the scene of when the good baseball team comes through, like the organized program. Because in your head, like, you don't have a lot of movie experience, but you're thinking, oh, these kids are going to get whooped. Kind of like, Mighty Ducks against the Hawks
never
kind of deal or
happens.
something like that.
It just doesn't happen.
What?
It just doesn't happen though. It just leaves you hanging.
No, they
Like,
get they ruin them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's like you didn't see it coming. It's like, holy cow, this ragtag group, they're Bad News Bears in it for sure. I mean, not even. They're way better. They're rolling them. They're steamrolling them. The name calling, all that. Is that your sister in left field, naked? Like that. It's good. It's good when you're a kid.
You know what's weird? A weird character in that is Dennis Leary, and also like the mom. Like that's a weird tone. They went a weird way with it because like Dennis Leary's the stepdad. Mm-hmm. He's not mean, but he's kind of like a negligible dick. Like like he's not
of
mean.
The era.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's, and again, I don't know. I didn't grow up in that era, but was that just a very well written concept of that relationship in that era? Like if you were a stepdad, were you just like, you tolerated the child, but you had no connection and no desire to connect? Like it was okay to have that be.
I bet you're
Using
right.
the
That's
term okay,
very
but, like,
insightful.
Yeah. I wonder if that's just a phenomenal portrayal
Yes.
of what those relationships are like.
Well, because you got to figure, in that era, in the 60s, divorce wasn't that popular as it is now. Because it was like you just stay together and you're
You
unhappy
did the right
together
thing
forever.
and stayed
That's what
together
you do.
fucking upset.
Yeah. And so being a step parent was unusual probably because nobody knew how to do it. And it was like, that's not my kid, not my responsibility, coupled
Right.
with, just what do we do here? And then he has that catch with him. But yeah, you can tell he's not overly
But it's like
invested.
reluctant. Yeah, he does. He kind of doesn't want to be doing it.
Man, that probably is, That'd be, it's one of those, an interesting rewatch if I watch it again here. But I haven't seen it in a minute. But just The Beast, just a great movie. The Beast, all that stuff. Utterly, completely rewatchable, enjoyable. Rookie of the Year, fun. Had some moments. That was a little more cheese. But fun. Little kid. falls down, can pitch 100 miles per hour all of a sudden for the Cubs.
I just love your premise because it just starts with
ditties.
It's a really fun movie. Little kid falls down.
Yeah. Gets wildly hurt. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not the best. Listen, second tier baseball movie from 1993. Unfortunately, right? It's just like bummer. You're not even the best child baseball movie from 1993. That's a shame. Baseball movies in the early 90s were pretty hot.
Yeah, they were.
Let me see. When did
we mentioned Doubtfire, great. I think I saw a lot of these in the theater. Last Action Hero.
Ooh, I have never seen that movie ever.
Interesting.
I have
the
still
Arnold
never seen Last
Schwarzenegger
Action
vehicle.
Hero. Yeah.
A kid works there, loves the movies. I don't know if he goes to the movies all the time. There's this old guy named Mick who always lets him sneak in there and then gives him this magic ticket that ends up putting him inside of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Sure.
So it's, but then he comes into the real world. So it's this combination of like movie world versus real world. And it is kind of, in a way, the end of those era of movies of the 80s. Strongman actor, just kind of like superhero who's not really a superhero, action stud guy.
Okay.
But good. Worth a watch, I think. I don't know. I'd have to see. It probably has a lot of cheese. And I distinctly, one memory I have for sure is in the summer for movies. My mom told my grandma, go bring them to see Free Willy today. And I was like, okay, Free Willy. Everybody remembers the killer whale vehicle, the rescue him from SeaWorld vehicle, that kind of thing. And we were going to go, and I said to my grandmother, we should go see is Robin Hood Men in Tights. I think Mom would be okay with that if we went and saw that. I don't know if I convinced my sisters into it or if they were into it too. But it was pretty hilarious. Definitely didn't get a lot of the jokes. But my mom was not happy about it. We went to go see Robin Hood Men in Tights.
But spoiler alert, Mom was not happy about it.
Yeah. Yep. Not happy with Grandma, not happy with us.
So, wow, you saw that. I definitely love Robin Hood Men in Tights. I don't know if I saw it in 1993. It is arguably my favorite. Actually, it might be a hard, firm, solid number one spot in my Mel Brooks movies. Big fan of Mel Brooks movies.
Yeah.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. I fucking love that movie. It is non-stop funny. You don't go 10 seconds without something quotable. Like, it is amazing.
I think it must have been my first Mel Brooks movie that I don't know. I don't even think I'd seen Spaceballs yet. So it was especially I don't know what ads that I saw was like, this would be funny. I don't even know what I could have seen because I didn't know the sensibility of it. I didn't know who Mel Brooks was. I knew it was Robin Hood and it was supposed to be funny, but I don't know how we ended up going to see it. And there's no way I got like half the jokes in that at all.
There's no one even in the movie that at that age we would really recognize. You're not recognizing Carrie Elwes. I don't know were you a Princess Bride
I hadn't
kid?
seen Princess Bride yet.
So Carrie Elwes isn't gonna scream to you. The one who plays Mary Magdalene, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But she wouldn't be anything to kids. Dave Chappelle was absolutely no one. Isaac Hayes was no one.
Richard Lewis
was certainly not a child's actor. At that time.
Like a chastity belt that was Full Metal. That girl, wasn't she from Wings? That one actress? Like that. Chastity belt, no idea.
Yeah, what's her face was in it? Oh my God, Tracy Ullman was in it as Latrine.
Yeah, no idea who that was.
I'm a child. I don't know who Tracy Ullman is. You're right. But I remember TV ads. For Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I'm trying to think of what they showed. I gotta think it showed probably like. It had to have shown like the men were men in tights. That had to have been it. And that, for a 10-year-old, you could be like, like, that's funny. They're
silly.
Men wearing tights.
Or probably like a fart joke in the ad or something like that.
Exactly.
I don't even know if there was one in there, but.
Who cares?
But yeah, somehow saw that in the theaters. Um, do you remember? Well, obviously the biggest movie of the year. Also saw in theaters. Saw in Ohio when we were visiting my uncle. And I just remember because my sister could not watch it. Covered her eyes. My twin sister the whole time because it was terrifying when you're 10 years old.
I saw it in the
Jurassic
I saw
Park.
it in the drive-in, and it was terrifying in the drive-in. But I was so thrilled. Like the drive-in was legit for Jurassic Park.
It changed. It's hard to like. It's weird to think that we've gone most of our lives with Jurassic Park because up until then, until we were 10, never seen anything like it in our lives. Like even close. Like
No.
to see like the animatronics and the way it all moved, like it looked so goddamn real. Like it was terrible. And then nobody knew what a raptor was. Everybody knows now. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry knows what a velociraptor is, but not. That wasn't like everybody was like. It was like T-Rex. That was the one, which obviously has a big showing in Jurassic Park, but nobody knew the danger of the velociraptor yet.
Were there stegosauruses ever even visually in there? I don't think
If
there
there
were.
was, it was in that first scene where they
In the
show the big
Brontosaurus?
pond scene, and
Like the Brontosaurus, like the big overscape where they're in the Jeep.
Yeah. There might
Yeah,
be one
that's
there.
what. But yeah, because then the Triceratops have the poo issue, the illness, the Triceratops illness part. So like, yeah,
That
it's
is
just
one big pile of shit.
exactly Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
No, what's crazy is in that. Did you ever see the meme? It's like Laura Dern in that movie was like a massive adult, and she was like 23.
I love those. Like, whatever movie or shows people talk about now, and like this person was this, you know, all the Cheers people are like, here, all these people that look like they're 55 are really 32. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, Laura Dern. When that movie came out, Laura Dern was 26 years old.
Yeah. Well, again, everybody looks like when you're 10, everybody looks old as fuck. What a babe. Now I look back. Now, yeah, it's fun because now when I do watch it back, I'm like, yeah, Laura Dern's very hot to try. What a sexy paleontologist or botanist. Sorry. You know, she was
Laura
in it
Dern for the
plants,
men.
I know it.
Laura Dern for the men. Jeff Goldblum for the ladies. What a movie! No wonder it
Jeff
did so
Goldblum.
well. Right? My goodness. And oh god, and an Attenborough, Richard Attenborough. Was that Richard Attenborough?
Yes, because David does the Planet Earth
Right.
voice.
Okay.
I believe that's correct.
Yes, that is
bad, no
Richard.
expense.
Okay. We have a T-Rex.
And you've got Butterfingers. Oh man, such a good movie, and it spawned all of the other films and games, and it still holds up as the best one, I think.
What
They just got weird after. I don't know. It's hard to replicate
you
the
can't.
energy of the first one and you
No.
know, the uniqueness and the feel of it, and it was truly
Jurassic-
scary. Like,
Sorry, I was gonna say Jurassic World it was okay. I didn't even see the third Jurassic World because the second Jurassic World was so fucking dumb. So like I'm like, my guys, I'm tapping out. I'm like, I gave you a chance to give me another. Jurassic World was okay, but like it's set in the same universe, which just doesn't make sense because after Jurassic Park 1, it should have stopped because you really can't sequel that concept. We tried bringing back dinosaurs safely. It failed horribly miserably. There really shouldn't be a sequel to that. It should just be like, yep, that didn't work. And then man realized we were never to try again. But I guess is it more accurate because we're like, but then man said, wait, I think I can do this again. I don't know.
there's this great scene. Let's see if I can, as you're or I'm gonna try to pull it up here because from Jurassic World. My buddy Brett, we were watching it one day, and he's like, "Did you fucking see that?" And so I think it's a scene where they're at the they're in the Jurassic World, which is like the Disney World of this whole thing, and it starts. These things start. The pterodactyls or whatever start flying through the theme park.
Yeah.
And as they're doing it, all the patrons are running away. There's this great. I'll just try to track it down. This video because this great scene where a guy's like sitting down at a cafe. Or like, because there's like Margaritaville or something there, you know? Like, of course there would be. And this guy, as the pterodactyls are sweeping in down the main drag, everybody gets up and starts standing and going, and he stands up and picks up both his margaritas and starts running with them. It's not like meant to be part of the scene, but I don't know if it was a choice from the extra or what.
Oh, I hope so.
It's so good, and I can't. This
need
clip
these
is
margs.
like 3 minutes long.
I just paid $23 a piece for these margs. I am not letting them go.
Yeah, but if you happen to watch that scene, this is like super long. It's like a 3-minute clip that I'm trying to cycle through on YouTube, so I'm not finding it, and I'm not gonna.
What's really important
go through
about
it too much
about Jurassic Park is it is like the greatest display of practical effects, and then all we did for the next 30 years was go, we're just going to keep making amazing practical effects because practical effects are what make movies great, and we're not going to just start cheapening out and doing CGI. Oh, that's not what happened. No. We went away from practical effects, and now we make movies that literally look worse. We spend more for movies to look worse doing stupid CGI bullshit. Go back to practical effects. Jurassic Park looks better than a lot of shit we see today, and it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, got to get that paper, Got to make the money off the dinosaurs. Otherwise, who will?
Right.
Oh, well, I can't find it. If you rewatch that movie, just check it out. It's so fun. It's so dumb. This guy just picks up 2 drinks and runs with them. 2 full margaritas. It's like priorities. Confused his priorities.
This was also the beginning of really Tom Hanks starting to establish dominance in 1993. He had two of the top 10 for biggest grossing movies, Sleepless in Seattle and Philadelphia.
Philadelphia year. Okay.
Yeah, this was Philadelphia year.
You probably know that, living near Philly and all.
That makes no sense.
You probably watch it every day.
That's a movie that I definitely didn't see when I was 10, and I definitely shouldn't have seen when I was 10. I didn't see Philadelphia until into my 20s, well into my 20s. Probably about 26, 27, I watched it. And it's a really good movie, but it's deep. It's a pretty hard-hitting drama, but it's really good. So if that's one that fell between the cracks, which I think for our age group, a lot of people haven't seen it because even in the realm of Tom Hanks movies, still, even retroactively, in the realm of Tom Hanks movies, it doesn't get probably the pull from our age group that people think of when they think of like 90s Tom Hanks. I don't think Philadelphia jumps into people's minds. We think of Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, Forrest Gump, all of those, but I think Philadelphia kind of fell by the wayside based on its topic and like being a drama in 93 when we think of 90s Tom Hanks as just like, oh man, wholesome, good old Tom Hanks. Like, yeah. I think that was it felt more artsy of a film, but man, Philadelphia is a really good movie.
And it captured, well, yeah, because early 90s, I mean, I think it's becoming less taboo to talk about homosexuality, about HIV, AIDS, like the more, it's becoming more prominent in the culture. But the movie itself kind of showcased that it still wasn't comfortable because it's, essentially like a courtroom drama where Tom Hanks' character is claiming he got wrongfully terminated because he's gay and has HIV. And Denzel Washington's character is representing him, who is also not comfortable representing him per se at first. Right. So it's like him and his own cultural biases and things like that, having to like come around to representing him and understanding him, and it's like it's very well done, well acted, everything just top tier all around. Very good movie, worth watching.
One of 3 movies that has a heavy like revolution around litigation, and one of the 3 top 10 movies grossing, because we also had The Pelican Brief in the top 10 as well as The Firm. So 1993, yeah. big time for attorney based movies. So that's yeah. Something. America was really into
I might have mentioned that a few episodes ago when we were starting to get into these like one-off like thriller drama like rando movies that like aren't part of a series, but they're all like big time actors.
I am a hardcore. I love courtroom dramas. I fucking do. Like I didn't get into them probably until like my 30s, really appreciating. But I love courtroom dramas because you want to know why? It's because a lot of them are just dialogue driven and like. They have to be well-written movies, and that's what I appreciate. So I think that's why what appeals to me is that it's not about seeing stuff on screen. It's about conversation, debate, argument, evidence, stuff like that. And I that draws me in. I love a good courtroom drama.
Yeah, because it is all about the writing. Even if it's like stupid, like it's something that wouldn't really happen.
Yeah,
if you can
that's
like
fine.
do the argument, it's like, if there's a gotcha moment or something like that, it's totally worth it. I remember one that's coming up, probably 95, 96. I think it was A Time to Kill. It's probably based on a John Grisham book, but Matt McConaughey.
Everyone under the
Sandra
sun is
Bullock.
in that movie. Everyone's in that movie, starring everyone from the 90s.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, but
both Sutherlands. We get 2 Sutherlands in that movie. One's a horrible, horrible racist, but still.
And then also, yeah, so the era of the thriller, the action, like these one-offs. A movie I saw later, but The Fugitive, I actually rewatched that within the last year. Harrison Ford.
I haven't seen it, I probably haven't seen it in 25 years.
So, accused of Dr. Richard Kimball of murdering his wife, which he didn't do, but he's on the run trying to find the guy who did. It's the one-armed man, supposedly. And but yeah, it's like a balance of law and action and a whodunit, a little bit of mystery, a little Tommy Lee Jones coming at you. Where is this guy? Round him up.
Listen,
Gotta
that
have
was
him every side of the state.
Your impersonations are shit. But that first sentence you just said was really good for Tommy Lee Jones. You ruined it after because you said a couple more sentences. You should have stopped with those like 3 words. But that was actually a really good Tommy Lee Jones.
Cut it out, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Just, I want you to put in blank space after that. Just clip the audio and just have the, oh, they get this guy. Whatever you said, the first like 3 words were really good, and then you ruined it before I could compliment you.
I am the Tommy Lee.
Nope.
But good. Yeah, pretty good year for movies. Good balance of kid stuff and adult stuff that's held up.
If we could get 10 years, if we could get the quality of movies from 1993 over the next 10 years, I'd be excited. But our movies, again, are shit now. And with quality has gone far by the wayside.
Music, it was a weird year, especially for me, because I was, I think I was listening to a lot of hot on the 93Q bandwagon, a lot of pop music. In terms of like radio, my clock radio that I had.
For
There's
sure.
a lot of like dance infused music. Even like the hip hop, the rap stuff was all a lot of like dance. Techno stuff was pretty big, it seemed like. So that actually informs a lot of my musical taste today, I think, as I still, even though I went through that in the rock phase, like now, I still love listening to like synthwave and like dance / rock, kind of like groovy stuff, but that would sound like sort of not necessarily EDM, but more like keys and whatever. We're getting to the era of, I don't think Real McCoy's this year, but the year after, and like that kind of music though.
Hadaway.
This year we did have the rhythm is a dancer, it's about to battle, you can feel it in the air. Like one of those.
Yeah. Hadaway. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. That was 93.
Yeah.
Big
Those
chart
were
topper.
all bangers on the radio. All one-hit wonders, that's for sure. But it was a big era for that.
Our biggest swerve since Milli Vanilli in music, in my opinion, was a dope. I'm using the term dope, I think, appropriately, time-wise, too. Hip-hop rap song by, known as Informer, and it clearly had to have been by a very Rastafarian Jamaican man. No, it was by a man named Snow, appropriately named because he was a white dude from Canada. But that song, you still listen to it and you're like, this is actually really catchy. Like, it's still catchy and it's good rapping. Like, it might be kind of silly, but it's really a good song. And I would never talk ill of that song because I think Snow Informer still holds up. It's a really good song, but everyone was like, excuse me, who sings this? Show me a picture of this man again. Not what I would have imagined.
Yeah, we'll pull it up. But yeah, it was like, I don't know how that was such a big song, but it really was. It kind of
because it was also
because he was kind of like doing some fast vocals.
Yeah. But it was also like appropriate. There was nothing like our parents let us listen to it because there was nothing really like
No.
abrasive about the lyrics, so like kids could appreciate it too. Oh, that must be Snow.
Informer, you know that I'm a stormy off a blam. I like you bum bum down. Take the man that says that I'm a stormy stab somewhere down the lane. I like you bum bum down. Informer, you know that I'm a stormy off a blam. I like you bum bum down. Take the man that says that I'm a stormy stab somewhere down the lane. I like you bum bum down. Please I don't come in and they blow down my door. Bring it apart, shoot you my
It's so good.
the car at the station. From that point
I mean,
Oh my god!
For those of you that
I
don't
forgot,
know-
like, how hard he went with that.
but for those of you that don't know what Snow looks like, if you aren't looking him up and you're listening just now to the audio, if you remember any episode of 90210, just think of Brian Austin Green, and that's basically what Snow looked like. But he did
Like, you
also
remember,
have
like,
glasses.
yeah.
He had reading glasses on too. I forgot about the reading glasses.
Spectacles. He's got. Yeah. Just think of like any JCPenney male model from the mid '90s. He's basically that. He's got that to a T.
It's so good.
God, it's just unapologetically Jamaican. With the, well, there was an era of like reggae was big too because UB40 was going
UB40
hard.
was massive.
Yeah,
Covering Elvis, which again, what are we doing? Like, I mean, I don't know that Elvis was the first one that did it because turns out Elvis didn't write like anything.
That's
But
true. He may have
Can't
borrowed
Help
it from
Falling in
somewhere
Love
else.
with You. Like UB40 brought that into like, I didn't for probably till after high school. I never knew that Elvis even sang that song. So I just knew it always as a UB40 song. Oh man,
And
good stuff.
reggae stuff was. I had this on cassette tape. Inner Circle, big year for Inner Circle.
Oh man,
With a la 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 long, a la 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 long 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 long. Girl, I want to
man.
make you sweat, sweat till you can't sweat no more. That
Yeah,
and the theme song to one of the biggest shows of the year, Cops.
Oh my goodness.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Oh my, it's so
Oh,
bad, but
God.
it's like, I think my mom didn't want us watching Cops, but like Cops was definitely a thing my dad was watching and such. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's amazing that was hit TV. It's just watching people get arrested. That's so fucking weird, but it's still like, it draws us in. Like, it's just like, I don't know if it's our brain subconsciously being like, well, my life's not that bad. At least I'm not that guy. Not getting
remember,
arrested and on TV.
5 years ago or so, they sort of brought it back with that live PD.
Live PD.
Have you ever watched that? Because
Yeah.
I know
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the counties that they did was the county north of Austin in Williamson County. So it'd be like watching it on a Friday or Saturday night. Be like, this is going on right now, like right up just north of here. This is crazy. They have Dan Abrams in the Situation Room there, like going live
my
to all
God.
these officers. That was
Yep.
cool. I mean, it's hard to not watch, especially when you're 12 beers deep.
Well,
late on a Saturday night. Yeah.
That's the thing is like, if you and your friends are just chilling at the house and you're like not like doing anything and you're just having some beers or anything like that, and that's on TV. Oh man, you can Mystery Science Theater like 3000 that thing. Like you don't need people like to be quiet. You don't need to focus. You can just point and be like, oh yeah, like it is. It's so good. It was the trash TV that was just a different trash TV than like Jerry Springer and all that stuff, which we're coming up upon. 93, I don't think. Well, 93 was probably a big time for like the more, not Jerry so much as like the Sally Jesse Raphael's. Maury starts picking up Donahue, Ricky Lake. I think those started probably coming into prominence too, because I remember those
like the
watching
afternoon
those
talk shows.
watching some of those as a
Risque.
kid. Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm not going to watch Saved by the Bell at 4:05 and 4:35 because TBS wants to be different. Remember TBS starting their programming on the 5s instead of on the 30s and
Oh
zeros?
my God. Yeah, that's right.
TBS used to be weird and start their programs on the 5s.
Yes.
Now, why you'd want to start 5 minutes later than everything else, I'm not certain I really understand why you want to start 5 minutes later, because I feel like everyone's already committed into their shows. So I I think someone like messed up in the boardroom and said we should do a 5-minute offset so that we grab people first, and then that got misinterpreted as starting 5 minutes late instead of 5 minutes early. But
I guess their plan was, once you're into one, then we got you hooked because you can't go to another show
because you'll miss the beginning.
Keep rolling.
I guess so that.
Weird.
Sure.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing. That was fucking weird.
Very a thing.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Off.
Yeah, weird year. Whoop, there it is. Big year for tag team. Well, the only year for tag team. That was such a hit. Yeah.
A personal favorite. Tony.
White people love
if
tag
I had
team.
no loot. White people do love tag team. Geico proved it. With Scoop, there it is, or with the ice cream scoops and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just had the lyrics to that memorized.
Yeah. Do you really?
But yeah, there's still some grunge in there. Pumpkins, Cranberries.
In Utero
Nirvana,
came out
In
that
Utero,
year,
a
so
little softer.
yeah.
Then there was like the poppy, like the era of like the poppy grunge, more like melodic, but like Gin Blossoms is starting to come out in 93. Hey Jealousy, still a song that I just cannot shake. Never got old for me. Just they got a few songs with the hooks are just right, and they'll forever be that band that has like 4 or 5 songs, especially a couple that they just nail it with the choruses and the hooks, and that's what they got.
Yeah, Gin Blossoms definitely had. Gin Blossoms figured out a formula because I don't know if it survived the test of time because I don't know that. I think they did fall apart. Like the songs just didn't carry into the 2000s. But they have come full circle, and you're right. Gin Blossoms, I do not turn when Gin Blossoms pops on the radio. I don't turn it at all. Not a chance.
Or if it's like somebody does it at karaoke. Doesn't happen a lot, but if they do, in on it. Totally in on it for sure.
100%.
Banger.
Yeah, I mean, if we had no Gin Blossoms, I don't think we would have had Tonic. And you know what? That's important to me.
It's not a world that I want to live in.
That's not a world I want to live in. With no Gin Blossoms or Tonic, no thank you.
Yeah, if you could only see a world with no Tonic, maybe you'd understand.
That's a play. That's a play on words right there.
I had a couple on Game Boy. I was a big Game Boy kid in this era.
Okay. Yeah.
Too. It was huge. But Zelda, Link's Awakening kind of blew my mind. NBA Jam was hot. Hottest game in the world, probably, at one point. But with no Michael Jordan, which was always weird. He wasn't in the game.
Oh, my God. How do you crush the souls of so many children? They get a game and you can't play as Michael Jordan.
Everybody was then, Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson, like the Charlotte Hornets were probably big. The Sonics. Uh-oh, my camera's fucking up. I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hold on, let me...
Your
reset
Elgato.
my camera. I don't know what's going on.
Which is funny. Please run Camera Hub to use Elgato Virtual Camera. 93, I think it was also the Street Fighter year. I don't think, or was that last
Super
year?
Street Fighter 2, Turbo or whatever.
Yeah, which is kind of when it almost blew up even more.
It did.
Look, for best selling, Street Fighter 2 was 1, Mortal Kombat was 2. So we had massive exposure to those. Super Mario Kart came out for SNES, which ended up breeding chaos. But what's even fascinating was the number 7 ranked best-selling video games for home, like console games or computer games in 1993, was Super Mario All-Stars. So the number 7 best-selling game was on SNES, and all it was the first 3 Marios from Nintendo reissued as one game. So it was like, oh man, 3 games in one, and you got the original Mario 2 from Japan, which in the U.S. we already addressed was released as the Mario 1, The Lost Levels, which in reality was just supposed to be the sequel. But the graphics were slightly improved, which I think was really cool. They looked more like the Super Mario World graphics as opposed to the graphics that they were released on NES. But it just goes to show you, like they just repackaged games, sold them, and it ended up being a top 10 selling game of the year.
But that was still a new concept to us, though. Like the idea, holy shit, there's 4 games in one. Like all the Mario games, you can have it. Like that's wild. But yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Super Mario Kart. Man, I had to save up my monies and go buy it at Brand Names, which was a store in Auburn. That was a catalog store. But you had to go to the desk and say what you wanted from the catalog, and then they would bring it out to you. You couldn't even like pick it up with your hand. You had to like
it was like a warehouse, a warehouse with like a glass case for like the big prominent items, the big ticket items that you could see in the storefront. But it was just you just like they gave you the Brand Names catalog, and you wrote down on like a card what you wanted, and they went in the back and just got it. It was Amazon, but you had to go get it.
Yeah. They bring it out, the box, and I don't know what, like I'm sniffing wine or something like that. But I was like,
all right, is this it?
I'll take that.
That'll do it. That'll be the one.
Yes, please.
That looks good.
I'm not changing my mind now.
Yeah, that looks good. That's exactly what I thought it was going to be when you brought it out. Good. Perfect.
Yeah. Let's make sure I calculated the tax right, because I think I have exact cash here down to the cent.
I have you hear that jingle? That jingle is like $7 worth of change in my pocket, and I'm pretty sure I have it down to the penny. Hope I didn't miscount.
Yeah. And SNES, a big game for me that I put a lot of time into was Super Empire Strikes Back. I remember being at one of the first Star Wars experiences, because the game starts immediately. You're Luke Skywalker and you have a lightsaber in your hand. It's side-scrolling. It's one of the most difficult games I have ever played. It's so dumb in terms of like taking damage and shit. But at some point in the game, then you get to like be a land snow speeder and try to take down the walkers. Like in the movie, like with the tow cables and shit, and you can fly like the Millennium Falcon and destroy asteroids. You can be Han Solo. And at the end, you fight Darth Vader, and it's so hard. I know I definitely used to put cheats in there or something like that, so I could get unlimited thermal detonators or something. I had to. It's ridiculously hard. I've revisited it since then. I'm like, how did I even have the patience for this? This is utterly absurd. But when you're a kid, because it just looks cool. You're willing to put in the hours and the time to get through these levels. And it had a password system, though, which was great. So if you died, it would give you like this 5-letter password random thing. And if you put it back into the start screen, you would start at whatever level you were on, which was huge. You needed that. But the problem was, it was also one of those games where if you died like 3/4 through the level, you had to start at the beginning of the level. Like one of those old school, like really kick you in the nuts kind of game. That's just it really sucked, but loved it. Just like, it's like the first time in a video game experience feeling like you were part of the Star Wars world, just wielding a lightsaber. It's every kid's dream just to have it. Now there's, tons of games with that, but it was cool.
For Sega, so I had a Sega Genesis, as we mentioned on previous ones. There was an X-Men game that came out, so obviously X-Men the cartoon was, X-Men the cartoon had to have come out by this time. But there was an X-Men video game, very difficult. We bought it because I think the idea was like, well, the X-Men arcade game is so fun, this has to be much like that. It's not. As with every console game, I'm like, this is much harder. Side-scrolling, but like you had to you could try different characters. It's extremely difficult. So a lot of frustration went into that. That's every game I ever owned as a kid. A lot of frustration and sadness and controllers getting hucked. But we had this other fighting game called Eternal Champions that was a Sega exclusive. It was a bootleg Mortal Kombat. It was about champions that come from all different timelines. So there's like a caveman guy, and there's a big futuristic guy that kind of looks like a sassy Blade from Marvel. But the moves were very complex, but nothing was as complex as the finishers, because the finishers were less like, there was some finishers per person, but there were also like level finishers. So remember in Mortal Kombat, you could do a finisher on like the bridge and like knock them down onto the spikes with an uppercut. This game had finishers that were involved the background, but dude, when I tell you how complex it was to do these finishers, you were so thrilled when you pulled one off, because it's like all you have to do is in this 2-second window at the end, all you have to do while your player's stunned is hit like up, 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 down, left, up, down, B, A, C, C, A, B, down. And you're like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to do this? So like you'd have to like lose consciousness, do it, and then like, and it's shitty animation. But yeah, Eternal Champions was brutal because like that was the one that we had. But like when you had friends over, you couldn't offer to have them play like Eternal
not like
Champions.
Ubiquitous kind of control
Yeah,
scheme.
like it's not Mortal Kombat, it's not Street Fighter. Your friends can play Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, but again, it boils down to like Sega having 3 buttons was weird. You knew it was weird. You were kind of like shamed with the 3 button setup. So yeah, like you said earlier, then they released the 6 button setups. I don't know, man. Sega kind of screwed themselves with this wonkiness. But both consoles got to feel the misery of the game Aladdin, which led to a lot of rage. A fun Disney game? No, absolutely not. Very upsetting.
Yep.
You are Aladdin. You could throw apples, but you usually died in the first board, maybe the second board. And then I feel like the video game makers were like, all right, we'll make the next one a little bit easier. And they released Lion King, which was 9 times harder than Aladdin was. You really wish you were the part of Mufasa because you just wanted to die after playing the first board. The first board was you trying to not die in a herd of buffalo where Mufasa dies in the movies. And it was miserable. It's like the most impossible
level.
So difficult game. And it was right off the bat, right out of the gate. They're like, hey kid, you like Disney? Fuck you. No one cares. Like, you are never going to see the end of this game. You better get your ass a Game Genie, loser, or else you are never going to see the end of this game.
Like, was it meant to be difficult, or was it just programmed so weirdly, so we got to get this out, and we don't care about the physics and the damage and anything like that?
I think it's a little of both. I think they absolutely made games back then more difficult just because. I do. Like, I don't know, though.
Weird
I don't know
Disney,
adults. Like, my parents weren't video game players. So, like, I know some people probably had their kids played video games, and then the parents would also play themselves because they were interested. Neither of my parents were really interested in video games. So, like, I don't know if parents, like, if older people, when we're 10, I don't know if people that were, like, in their 20s were able to complete these boards. Was anyone able to do this and just we weren't because of our age? I don't know. Like, I think there would be, I'd like to hear if, like, people who are about 10 years to 15 years older than us and beyond, were they good at these and we just sucked? Or were the games legit, like, impossible to play?
They were. A lot of Nintendo games are super hard still. I mean, there's some YouTube channels that testify to that, like how crazy, how difficult a lot of these games were, and there wasn't save points, and you just had to, like, one-shot it. But it's a lot of, like, it depends how you like your games, because there's games that come out like that now, whether it's the like Cuphead, like those kind of platforming things where it's like you just got to get through it. It's difficult, and it's like, do you memorize the patterns? And some people like games like that where it's you just have to memorize the patterns and do it over and over again until you figure it out. And there's an element of, like, fun to that and challenge, but sometimes I'm like, I don't want to just play. I need, like, some dynamics in my game. Like, I need to, like, feel like it's an authentic, different experience every time. But I do still appreciate it. Because I do like some of those games where it's like you just got to put in the work, do it. I know, like, Elden Ring's a huge game with a lot of these bosses. It's probably a good combination of it in terms of it being, like, memorizing patterns and boss fights and that kind of thing. But it's a grind. And, like, it's a combination of, like, memorizing and puzzle solving and execution and timing and all that stuff. So people like their games differently, you know? But that's a certain taste for some people.
I guess. Not me. I don't have that time. I don't have that type of patience. Nope. Yeah. Nope.
All right. We reached it far enough. All the good people are gone.
I don't even know what the hell he's talking about, folks. I'm excited too.
Well, the reason it comes up is this idea of the phone makes me think of the cell phone. And,
right.
The overall thesis of this statement is not even a thesis. My experience I will share.
There you go. That's better.
I would say in the last few, just being in Auburn especially, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm, like, overly active. I mean, like, if I meet people, I'll get some numbers or chat or text back and forth with some people, but I've never been ghosted in my life more than I have in the last few years just being in Auburn. And it's not even the fact that it's happening. It's just the way that it happens. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? How does this happen? It's so bizarre because it's not like a situation where I get somebody's number and then they never respond. Like, I talk to to like women that I meet, and it's like mid conversation, it just stops at the point. It's like always the weirdest spot. So I'll go through a couple examples and tell you what happened this week. So I would say the general vibe is like texting, like, hey, yeah, it's fun, blah blah blah. Yes, that's fun, like chitty chat, small talk, blah blah blah. Flirty stuff, and then like, well, hey, like, do you want to, like, it's Tuesday, you want to go out? Like, you want to do like proper date, like go out? It's like, yeah, definitely, like, let's do that. Okay. And then next message, like, okay, what time? Like 7, 8, no response. It's always weird because it's like, it's at a point where somebody has agreed to do something. And when you like, one more question is like, nope, that's it. That's happened to me like multiple times.
That's being pretty pushy, man. Trying to set a time.
Well,
we set a day. That's fine.
It's so weird where you like have agreed to it. Like, yeah, definitely, let's do it. Or I'll ask them in person and be like, well, I'll text you when you say, yeah, definitely. Like, there's definitely interest, and then it's just for some reason like pulling the trigger on the actual time or whatever is a no-go. And it's so bizarre. I'm not begrudging anybody for it. It's just a weird spot to
right. It's an objective observation. Yep.
Yeah, it's like,
I agree.
At what
agree.
Point,
just don't agree to the day. Why are you like?
Don't, or just say nah. Well, or if you're gonna ghost from the beginning, I guess. Not like agree and then like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I will say. All right. Let me start with this. Like, if it's someone you meet in person, I think people will likely agree to stuff more so when you're in person. I think that's human nature. You don't want to upset someone. You don't want to, you just not like that you trigger them, but like, I think people are more crowd pleasing in person. So if you're like, hey, we should do this again, and they say yes, it's more for the polite, fleeting yes. Like, I could see them then getting into a text conversation being like, you know what? It's not really for me. Or even ghosting you right after doing that. But you're right. Agreeing to the premise on text where there's no real pressure is weird to then bail. That's
especially when it's within the same conversation, the dialogue.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Are you alive? That's because then I generally like 4% of me is like, is this person alive? Are they okay? Like, no, I'm just concerned. Like, are you like? That's a weird place to bail on this.
The tough one is when am I okay to say? So what do you think? Like rehashing to make sure like, oh, maybe they didn't, maybe they were in the shower the first time and their phone was on silent. Like, cause I do that. Like, I'm not ignoring someone's message, but sometimes I read it, don't respond, and then things keep going. And if they're like, so what do you think? I'd be like, oh shit, right. We were in mid-conversation. Like, that can happen. But you're also wondering, because of the relationship, you're not texting, your friends or something where you're like, yo, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, answer me. Like, you want to seem pushy, but you do want to be like, oh, did this just get lost in the mix? So you really can't rehash again up until, like, let's say if you're talking Saturday about making Tuesday plans, if they don't respond, maybe you touch base again the next day on Sunday. But yeah, that's okay.
I usually give it like one more go. Like, I'll give it a couple days and be like, hey, do you want to do that there?
Yeah.
Again, whatever. I mean, I acknowledge that shit happens in people's lives, and maybe it's because they're not interested. Maybe something just came up. Like, maybe something literally came up in their life at that moment, and I'm sensitive to it. So I'll give it one more. Then if they don't respond, like, that's okay. I get it. But then I've like run into the same people again before, and sometimes they've been like, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay. Like, you don't owe me anything. Like, I don't care. Like, we're cool. I know how this relationship would go now, so it's okay with me. I have knowledge that I did not have before, and it's okay. We can be friendly. We're not in a relationship. You don't owe me anything. I'm not sad. Like, we're not, we're not dating.
I'm just trying to be objective.
It's a very low risk. It's like nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, these are very low stakes right now.
That's what's important. Yes.
I'm not burning. I'm not like, yeah.
So then there's this one woman who, I sort of texting her maybe like 6 months ago, and then it'd be like very responsive, and I would see her, like, she works at a place in town that people go to, and would see her, and I would see her there. I guess I don't want to give too much away, but and so like we were texting, and I'd chat with her once in a while. I didn't know her relationship status per se, but then finally one time I was like, just over text, I was like, hey, do you want to, one day after work, do you want to like whatever, catch a hang or something like that. Go either grab
Jesus
a drink
Christ,
after
I hope
work
you didn't
or,
say catch a hang.
or whatever. So I don't know, just whatever the vibe was, something like that. Do something. Oh, I thought of that. I was thinking of it's been in my mind lately because I think of TJ Lavin, and he said, the host of the challenge, so like, ever want to catch a coffee in Vegas? Let us know in a cameo. I was like, that's so funny. I fucking love that.
You quote, hold on. You thought that to talk to a girl, your best move should be to paraphrase TJ Lavin. Just want to make sure we're on the same
I don't know if I
page.
said that, but that's just the way I thought of it in my
Gotcha.
head.
Fair.
I probably said
Okay.
that's the vibe I was going for, like just the catch a coffee vibe.
Yeah,
like
but you're not
whatever it was,
TJ
like, if
Lavin,
you wanna
bro.
go
It
do
doesn't
something.
work like
so
that.
again, something low stakes, whatever. I was like, nothing, no response. So I was like, fine, good. And then like I've seen her a few times lately, and I don't like when I see her now. I don't usually bring it up like if she wants. So lately, she's been engaging in conversation with me now when I see her. And I was like, okay. And it's like sort of going out of her way to initiate conversations, and it's been a couple times, and then I was like, all right. So finally, like this week, I texted her late one night, and
That's a terrible start, but go on.
she's like, and then so we started chatting, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "So I'm in bed. It's late." And she's like, "Do you want to FaceTime?" I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Why don't you like, if you want to FaceTime, I'll show you." And I was like, "Okay, all right, yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know, or I forgot it was something like that, but so I did, and she was just like, she lives up north. She doesn't live in Auburn, but she
Up north is a weird term to use.
towards like
Canada?
I'll say towards.
Oh no, Matt, is this girl in Canada allegedly? Oh boy,
No,
we've heard this
no.
one.
She lives, I'll say, up towards like north, like towards Oswego that way.
Gotcha.
But like probably 40 minutes away, 35, 40 minutes. But anyways, I go on and she's just in her bed, like half naked. And I was like, okay. And for whatever, we just chat for like, honestly, a few hours, way too late. And it was vibe. It was fun. I would say it was like a weird, what I would consider like almost like a first date type thing. It was very strange in a way, but she kept being self-conscious about it. She's like, is this weird that I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I don't know. It's fun to me. I don't know. Like, this isn't a normal thing for me to do. Like, this is fun. You're half naked for some reason and very comfortable with it. And I'm comfortable with it too. And
I assume you mean like there's like she has clothes on the left side of her body and not the right. That's what half naked means, right?
No, she just
All right,
got
just want to make sure.
her just a thong on. That's it, and her stuffed animals, and that's it. And I was like,
Okay,
this is
interesting.
strange. And then because there was whatever it was, kind of got into like this conversation about, well, I'm so I didn't mean. I was like, well, yeah, I haven't texted you. She's kind of like, why didn't you, blah blah blah? Why haven't I seen you here? And I was like, oh, I don't take breaks from drinking, or I take breaks. And then I was like, also, why would I talk to you? You ghosted me. Remember? She's like, I know, I'm so sorry. Like, I was like going through a breakup with my boyfriend at the time. Blah blah. I was like, that's okay. That's all right. Like,
Right, like you can even
anyways.
tell me that or something. But anyway,
And then she was like, she was very into it, and it got, because then she's like, oh, baby, I'm so sorry, baby. And I was like, what are you doing? I was like, are you babying me? And then she's like, oh, no, I feel bad. Like I said that and you're not into it. And I was like, it's just weird. It's different. It's like,
Well,
it's
now-
weird for
yeah,
me
now-
to, it's
now that's
weird for me to
odd.
go from nothing, being ghosted, to now you being like baby, and we like barely know each other, and we're just really hanging out on the phone for the first time. And then, but I was like, whatever. I'm not going to judge it. I was like, this is why it's it's different. It's like it's weird. Okay, that part is weird. Okay, we can keep continuing.
right?
on.
If you're looking,
'Cause
if you're hunting for it, that part's weird.
And but anyways, then we just like stayed on the FaceTime. It was fun. And she wanted to fall asleep on the FaceTime. I was like, okay, fine, we can do that. After like hanging out for a few hours and whatever, and then I think the next day, like she texted me again, like she's hope you had a fine day. She probably didn't say it like that, but I know you're tired. And I was like, yeah, it's a tough day, but it's fun. Like we'll have to hang out. Like maybe I think we had talked about that now. Like, dude, you want to do like trick or treat, hand out some candy or something like that? And she was like, yeah. Another message, and then for what it was, but there's nothing, no response to something I've said, something about something else we were talking about, but no response. I was like, that's weird. And so the next day, I think she had gotten sick or something like that. But then she was like, whatever, I have 102 fever. Like, I might have to go to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then, again, no response after that. Like, and then since then, just nothing. So I've sent her, I was like, did you want to do that? I was like, you're probably sick. So I don't know if you want to do that Halloween thing, but how are you feeling? Nothing, no response. Another text this weekend. Just so, again, like now I'm at the point where I just want to like finalize it. So I almost sent out, it's like sort of like a creditor sending out a final notice. So I get to be like,
just want to let
send
you
out
know.
the final question of like, hey, did you want to hang this weekend or something like that? And once I get the last no response, at least I did my due diligence to be like, I asked you to hang. And also, you were like really intense, wildly intense. We hung out. So now I'm like very confused again. Like it's just weird the places that it gets to. Like, you initiated it, you were babying, and it was very intense from your side, which I sort of went along with. And then it's just ghosted again. So I'm like, can you get ghosted by the same person twice? And as somebody said, when does it become a haunting?
Interesting. I think that's what it is. Multiple ghostings is a haunting. Yeah, man. I mean, this person, again, not being objectively speaking, this person appears to have probably a need for attention in aspects, but also doesn't know what they want and everything. So, if I interpreted this, if I went through the same thing, I'd be like, all right, I got to do the adult thing and be like, I got to cut this off, even if they want to hang out. Like, I think you've reached the point, and I think you, intelligent Matt Jones, know that you've reached the point that there's no reason to try to make this work. And I think you're just trying to get the confirmation of like, no, just to have it be done with, but you're not going to. I want to let you know, like, this has to end on your part where you don't respond. And then if because I think your silence will make her respond, because that's what seems to be what the trigger was the first time, is that you stopped trying.
Hey,
and so
we jumped.
Because you stopped trying. So this was another big way to pull you in. So I think if you stop trying, I think you have not heard the end of her. I think she will reach back out. But when she reaches back out, the very first thing you need to send is a message explaining that you have zero interest in moving forward, so that you can have the closure you want. Because if you entertain anything, I feel like you're going to go down this road again with her.
I do love crazy, though. That's the problem. I do love a good bit of crazy.
Yeah. Listen, if you want to deal with crazy, that's on you. That's fine. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying that is what you're dealing with.
And I don't think she's not crazy. It's just a very strange situation to be like.
It's erratic, one way or another. It's erratic, and and I feel like it stems from emotions, not from objective things. Saying like, "Oh, it was my boyfriend and stuff." Like, I was going through a breakup. That's an objective thing. But if it keeps going like this, and all the things that she's messaging you, like, "Oh, I was sick and I have a fever," it's almost like "you should pity me," and then she's like, "Ah, yes, endorphins from being this guy texting me, feeling bad for me." Like, I don't know, man. I think it's emotional fluctuations. We both have our own emotional tweaks and stuff like that, and I feel like I can spot this type of behavior.
The problem is, it's just the titties. Once you see titties, it's hard to right. It's hard to think straight.
You'd like to see them again, right? I know. It's as simple as that. You're like, I appreciated this visual, and I would like it more.
Yeah, that's hard. That's the hard part. I will see her again in real life. It's just because it's a place that I go. But I mean, it's not going to be weird. I would even say that. It's like, hey, we don't have to, we're good. We're fine. Yeah. This isn't weird. We're adults. We're good. Like, it's not a thing. But I got that when I was very relieved when I sent out the last message that I'm assured is going to get ghosted. Because it's just like, this is my closure. Like, putting out that one last Yeah, do you want to hang or do you want to do this or whatever? And it's like, yes. I just felt like a sense of relief of like, fuck yeah, that's it. It's over. I put out my last shot, and I know it's not going to go anytime soon, but I'll see this person again, and it won't be weird. But
I am excited to know what the next interaction is like, and
anyways,
the subsequent ones that are going to happen.
If anybody needs to rehearse their ghosting techniques, give me a text. I'm very well versed in it now.
There isn't techniques. You can just do it. You can just do it by not doing.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes like if you're having trouble, like if you're getting engaged too much with the conversation instead of just not talking for right away, just let me know. That's what I'm here for. And I don't take it personally. It's just very wild. And I would say, this is going to make me sound like an ass, but most of the time, it's not people that I was necessarily thought were going to be my person anyway. So that's why it's like not that big of a deal. I don't think I've met my person here yet in Auburn. I might not. I may not. That's probably a thing, but it'll be okay, guys. It'll be okay. So, ghosting and titties. That was my week.
Am I right?
And it was Halloween too. Ghost titties.
Neat. Ooh. That's called a
Boobies.
ending segue, and it all comes together. Good night, everybody.
Way too long. Thank you for indulging
It was.
me. And I will keep you updated on
Please.
Tittygate 24. All right.
Marvelous. We even named it.
And we made it through without talking about the Yankees.
What the fuck, man?
Catches what more than me.